afternoon and welcome to Nigeria Now. Today, the 23rd of July 2024. We will be looking at quite a number of issues that are happening currently in the country. We'd love to touch at one or two of those issues, and then do remember you can also, air your views, your opinion, your own perspective about what these things are, what the issues are, recommend some of the things that can be done to address it. And we're seeing a number of things keep unfolding. We're seeing that marketers are complaining concerning the prices of fuel, as they are saying that 700 billion naira might be the subsidy for a month. So back and forth whether the government is still paying for a subsidy or not has been a debate for quite a while right now. So we'll just leave that for today. We hope to touch it some other day. I am Seda Elisha Dasham, and I'll bring the program alongside Rachel Tanzi. Good afternoon, Rachel.
Afternoon, Sally.
All right. Let's go to the matter of today. Already talks of protests have been going on and on and on and on, with various people giving their point of view, where we're seeing even the advisor saying the fact that Peter Obi might be the chief sponsor for the protest, but then he's coming out to say he has nothing to do about this. And here we're saying that the NLC as well as other body are coming out to tell the government to please address some of these issues that are coming out rather than shutting down the mouths of Nigerians. It is only right that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should actually address the plight of Nigerians at a time like this. And I cannot agree less concerning this issue, because I think this is not the first time we're talking about the issue of this protest, but it seems as if we're getting closer to the date that has been said, which happens to be maybe 1st of August. I think I've seen a number of flyers going around that's from 1st to 10. We're seeing Sowore saying that the protest is starting from the FCT. We're seeing religious leaders saying what the government needs to do about this. And there are quite a number of things back and forth as well. I think earlier in the morning we saw where people are complaining the fact that some states are yet to even get the palliative, and we know that the main reason for this protest is nothing but hunger, bad governance. And I saw another one that say #revolution, and I just cannot help but wonder, what are we pushing? What revolution are we pushing for? But in all of this, I think it's just aimed towards letting the government know that a number of things are not going well, and therefore the government needs to address it rather than just looking for a way out of it. We saw where reps are saying they understand the pain of Nigerians, and that is why they have agreed to slash their salary by 50%. So 50% will go to Nigeria. But beyond that, I think we've also spoke about the fact that we do not need a temporary solution. We need a permanent solution to all of this thing. Today, you can give a bag of rice. Tomorrow, you might be giving 5,000 naira palliative. But when all of this thing is finished, where do Nigerians turn to? And I think this is a question for me, as well as many other Nigerians out there, because this is becoming, something else. And I'm just being afraid, because we saw the way protest is going in Kenya. Just started from please remove the tax, and we're seeing that till date. Uganda is already complaining, the president saying that, you know what, I'm not giving permission to my citizens to go out and protest concerning anti-corruption because they are playing with fire. So you can just keep looking at this, but then when you just look at the whole thing, you just wish, which side is the government presently concerning the issue of protests?
Sally, NLC sounds washed down. They almost sound powerless. They sound defeated. They sound like they're not a force to reckon with. As it is now, because how is it that the NLC is urging the federal government to address public complaint? Is this a public complaint or a cry for help that we need the government to listen? Now, this statement sounds like the NLC is distancing itself from the public. It's like, it is not us, it is them that are about to go out on a protest, and therefore federal government listening to them. This is what this looks like coming from the NLC, and it's pathetic, Sele, in a lot of ways, because the problem of Nigeria doesn't stop at minimum wage. It's beyond that. We have 70,000 naira minimum wage. What is our exchange rate? So automatically it means that NLC cannot stop being on the government's toe. They cannot stop being. You can't remove yourself from this. You are for the civil servants, and these are Nigerians either way. Your voice is still supposed to be heard. It's supposed to continue, because the last time I checked, you had many things, many memorandums of understanding, agendas, all this left, right, center concerning what the federal government can do. They did one and you're silent. And even when they did that one, it's not even up to the standard you were expecting. And all of a sudden you're silent, as if every other thing just goes away. And you are now distancing yourself from the people, making it look like you are no longer these people anymore, and all of that. I hope to see better coming from the NL. You've put yourself in that position. You should live up to that standard and expectation, because we don't want temporary. As far as I'm concerned, minimum wage is not a permanent solution. Said it's still temporary, because maybe now we are at $43 for our minimum wage. Without the government putting in other policies in place, that number is going to drop. It's going to drop. Minimum wage is a temporary solution. What we need is a thriving economy, a thriving government that is favorable, that even with 30,000 naira you can live large, if that is possible, because we know what inflation means. What about for businesses to thrive? Are you making it look like it is not also your concern? Because if businesses are thriving and their cost of production is reasonable, it means the cost of products in the market will be reasonable. So therefore you have value for your 70,000 naira. But do we have value? Do we have value at the moment for it? So I'm just looking forward to a more solid statement coming from the NLC than just urging the government to listen to public complaint. What does that even mean? Does it hold weight? It doesn't. It sounds vague. It doesn't even look like it has a direction. When you try to scrutinize this statement coming from the NLC, I just hope that every key player, everybody that have a voice that could be heard, should say something meaningful, so that in the end, when people march out, they know that it's for the right reason, and that eventually the government will listen to them. Because we started talking about this in the morning, and it's beyond just a group of people. It's an entire country, and we need to know that we are all together in this. You can't distance yourself from the problem. It's still Nigerians that are crying out for help. It's still civil servants. It's still workers in the private sectors. It's still business owners. It's self-employed. It's students. It's dependents. It's the unemployed. It's everybody's voice speaking regarding the situation of the country.
Honestly, no wonder we're seeing that some of the hashtags that's been taking place, you really agree that this is really hashtag revolution, because we really need things to turn around for the good in this country. And then each time we see Nigerians are trying to let their voice be heard, it seems as if somebody somewhere will look for a way to make sure that they are quiet about this. And the only way we can really tell that we're in a democratic dispensation is when you allow the people to express what is going. When you stop, then it's more like an anarchy. Because here we're seeing Gumi, we're seeing the Arewa Consultative Forum coming out to say that it is ill-timed. And somebody out there will ask, when is the right time to protest? When is the right time to let the government know that, you know what, things are not well? We're seeing operational private sector complaining that they can't even afford the 70,000 naira. They are asking for help from the government. We're seeing them complaining as well. Today is going to be the end of the MPC meeting. What will be our new monetary policy? What will be the new interest rate? We've been complaining about our exchange rate. We've been complaining about inflation rate. And we've all been asking the same question, Rachel. When will things turn around for the good? In the morning, you said, it seems the light is far. It seems I don't know when we are going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. because the tunnel seems to be going deeper and deeper. Just where you're about to say finally, and then something new comes up. So just like we say, this is beyond NLC saying the government should listen to the cry, because the reality of the thing is that things are not longer funny for anybody. Transportation is expensive, feeding is expensive. If you're talking about your utilities, it's very expensive. You can't make it to the hospital, everything is expensive.
Jeez.
So it looks more like living is for those who can afford to live. So I'm hoping, honestly, just like we said, that we need something more strong coming from NLC, because we are more like an umbrella that should be able to shield every other person from attack coming from the government. And I believe that when you speak, the government is supposed to listen to you. So let's just keep our fingers and see how things will unfold. I mean, we still have some few weeks, 1 week, about some days to August. So let's see what will happen eventually before then. Now, we will recall that earlier this month, we saw collapses in various places in the country, as well as we saw Plateau State having their fair share, which it seems to get the attention of almost everybody in the country. Various people have paid their condolence visit to the parents. Those who are in the hospital have been visited by the governor of the state, that I'm talking about Governor Caleb Mutfwang, and many other people as well have really said, you know what, things need to be done. In fact, this was more like an eye-opener for us to see the government taking it serious, to go around and check what is the physical appearance of certain buildings. Because we see people just building, nothing has been done. You don't check how solid the foundations are. People just build right now. You don't even take permission from the government. And then some extent the government seems to be relaxed until we see things getting out of hand. Because from the way things are looking, if this school had not collapsed, we wouldn't have seen a survey, a research, a probe, investigation about it. Now we're seeing that about 12 schools, as well as RICS. So just like I said in the morning, I'm happy that it's during the holidays that we're discovering this. So this will give the government ample time to see what can they do about the schools. Initially, I was happy. I mean, I know that maybe the governor had plans to go to school, but he started with buildings that were by the roadside, buildings that were stopping certain things. I saw certain red ribbons put on certain things that need to be demolished to create, and all of that. I was excited about the move coming in, because we're seeing a number of people. You need to go down to the city of Jos and then you realize certain buildings on mountains, and you wonder who actually gave them that place to build in the first place. What if something happens to you? Don't we have town planning? I mean, there are certain things. We have blueprints of how certain buildings are supposed to be done, but nobody seems to be following it. But I'm happy this is coming from the governor, talking about the fact that, you know what, a committee was being raised and they checked and they realized that things needs to be done. I know they said all of the parties involved during this collapse of this school, they will actually have to face the wrath of the law and all of that. But beyond that, this is just for this school. We have many structures in Nigeria. I mean, we know it's raining, and we have more states. Rain will be coming more. So what is the government doing to make sure that, you know what, apart from schools, apart from buildings, that we need to have a very concrete law that will make sure that people follow to do certain things. I know that we're in this part of the country whereby you have to bend people for them to do the right thing. If you are not forced, if you don't have any force enforcement being there with you, nobody wants to do what is expected. But I mean, this is what it is, as we're seeing that, I mean, about these 12 schools that at risk of collapse, and I don't know how many more before this whole panel will be done with their research and all of that.
Sele, what you said is the reason why this report is unimpressive. A building had to collapse, and many young pupils, students, losing their lives. Before now, we know that 12 other schools are in that condition. So what if all the 12 collapse on the same day? What survey would we go and do to get a report concerning more buildings and all of that? It shows us that there's so much work that needs to be done, and I don't know if we're ready to do the work that is expected to be done. Because first of all, buildings are expected to be inspected often. The approval, the construction, the government allowing this structure to be erected, the government also have to make sure it's conducive. There are departments, there are housing departments, there's metropolitan development and all of that. The question is, what are these people doing? Is your own to just collect fees and approve people's building and come and put JMDBX? Or you understand, I believe that there's more to job descriptions when it comes to this office. However, what benefits and put money directly or indirect into the pocket of the government of individuals is what is more focused on than what could lead to the loss of lives in a way that could be avoided. And I know that we are very religious in this country, and people will say that's how God wants it to be. But if that building was inspected and built properly, there would never be such a collapse, and therefore there would never be a reason for us to even make such a statement in the first place. What I'm trying to say is that it's always us trying to solve a problem after much damage have been done. And I hope we grow to the level where we avoid certain things from happening. This is my honest hope and prayer for Nigeria entirely, that we don't have to wake up to what could have been avoided in the first place, that we could have a system that the work is being done 100%. It might look like work is being done now, but why wasn't it done prior to now and what is happening currently? So yes, I mean, kudos to the governor waking up and say, okay, you know what, we need to inspect, we need to do this and that. But that's after over 22 people lost their lives, and it is a very, very sad one. So I just hope that we grow to the level that we are truly ready to put in the work, where we grow to the level that certain avoidable things don't happen, are truly avoided. And we can go far to compare and say, well, everybody learn and all of that. Yes, but can we look far ahead? Can we be predictable, like we predict into the future? Let our thinking skills not just be on who will win the election. Can it be on buildings could collapse if this is not being done? Therefore, this is the standard that we are going to set. Can our mind go far beyond trivial things and really predict the future in a way that certain things can be avoided? I am just looking forward to that kind of future in our country.
You know, Rachel, if I'm to advise the governor, not just for Plateau State, because I know if there's any agency organization that fetch so much money for Plateau State in particular, it's Land and Survey, because they go around. Rachel, if your house is not being erected the way it should be, you have a fine. So there's so much of money that's been realized from Land and Survey. So I feel the government can take a step further by enforcing certain things. We've seen them going around asking for C of O. We see them going around asking for certain things in your house. You see there are certain things being marked which tell you that every land belongs to the government, even though you bought the land. So I think there are moves that can come from the government to be able to see, you know what, people must adhere to certain things. Of course, sometimes other people might get injured, some people might get affected, but if we need things to be done, we need to do it. Yes, some people might get affected, but why don't we just fix things? I mean, I know that for buildings, sometimes they have lifespan. So you have to do maintenance and all of that to check. For example, this two-story building, I think we've discussed that. There are certain things you check. If already we said the mining area, there are feeling you do underneath it to make sure that it doesn't affect the entire building. So just like we said, everybody is responsible for things such as this. So let's just make sure that we play our part. And when I mean by we, if you are given a responsibility, and no wonder you always use the word, people do not do their job. Because if you did your job, I mean, we'll not be here discussing why a building should collapse. We've said this over and over. do not build by waterways. We still see people buying lines by the waterways and building. Okay, you're building by a mining site. What have you done? Have you called experts to help you check what you need to do? The ponds are around there. How much of damage has been done? Nobody does all of that. And we still come, but just like say we are religious, what we are supposed to do, we don't do it, and we blame it on God and say it was their time. How sure are you it was their time? Just looking at this building, I could just imagine the agony of the students. They are setting ions and all of that. So I could imagine what all of this thing went through. And then many other buildings that have collapsed because of carelessness coming from people. So kudos to the governor, just like we said, but we hope that we do not wait for something to happen before we know that we are supposed to have done other things to prevent it from happening eventually. Well, thank you, Rachel, for doing this with me.
Welcome, Sally.
As well, thank you to our viewers and every other person that made this program a success. We look forward again to doing this tomorrow. Have a blessed day.